So around the world, governments have been considered to be risk-free. And that's an important term that gets used in the bond markets, is the risk-free rate. And generically, governments, because they have the ability to tax, they have the ability to print money, have considered to be risk-free. But those of you that are keeping track with what's happening in the world and the amount of money that governments are raising, and you look at places like Ireland, Greece, governments are no longer risk-free. So the world is starting to ask themselves which governments are risk-free and which are not. So the other dimension you can take risk on is, instead of taking a time dimension to the person you're lending it to, is to take a probability they might not be around dimension, which is the term called default. So if at the end of a period the person you've lent the money to is not going to be there, you want an incremental return to take into account that risk. Bonds are a very poor protection against inflation if you're buying at the bottom, because what will happen as inflation gets back into the system, if that's what actually happens, as demand grows again, then interest rates will reflect the fact that now people are concerned about inflation, and you would have bought something at an interest rate of 2%, and you now have an asset that should be trading at 5%, you have made a capital loss. So bonds as an inflation protection require a bit of timing in terms of expectations about future inflation. So right now, the money chasing the bond market is not a typical inflationary protection approach to looking at bonds.